I'm out here today to help show support for everybody's civil rights that we feel are being violated by our governor's emergency mandate.
My body, my choice, for one thing, and it means the right to choose what we ingest and what we don't ingest.
Let's just dance! Screw this and dance! Get out of your head! Let's dance anyway! Be happy anyway! Be happy anyway! That's my job.
Anti-poison vax, anti-slave mask, pro-family, pro-God, pro-country, pro-white.
And sound. This is love. As the record plays. Love.
Hi there, folks. I'm Keegan Van Hook, and this is Us As We Are. We're here outside the Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center, where a very large crowd has gathered. We're gonna go and talk to some people and find out what's going on. Come on, let's go. So this is already the biggest protest I think we've ever been to in this region.
We heard about this event via a photo of a black and white printout of a screenshot of an Instagram post taken on a smartphone. It was sent to us by a friend with their ear to the floor who saw it on Facebook. Here's a color version I found. The event was being called a medical rights meetup. The posters offer some context for what was going on. People were being called out to stand up for healthcare workers' rights, medical privacy and employment, those being forced and threatened, worker job security, and community medical staffing needs. The event was being organized by the Maskless Women of Southern Oregon, Faith and Freedom, and the Southern Oregon First Freedom-Focused Media YouTube channel, which has a video that goes deeper into the reasons behind why this was organized. Link in the description.
This is why we're meeting on the 25th, this Wednesday, in front of Rogue Regional Hospital on the sidewalk. Stay out of traffic. Be safe. We want to be quiet. We want to be friendly. And we want to...
It's both sides of the road on Barnett. So, to begin, how about you just start by kind of introducing yourself, explain who you are, and also what...
How's the audio? Is the audio good?
We've been checking that, so audio is all good.
Yeah, my name is Biome Michael Erickson, and I'm just a free man that's into beauty, goodness, and truth, and want to uplift society and undo the lies and deceptions.
Yes, hi, my name is Oliva, and I'm here to stand up for medical freedom and informed consent.
Yeah, my name's Jay Terrell. I'm a local here in Medford. I own a business downtown, and came out to support the workers in the medical industry and education. I don't think that the government should be rapidly forcing people out of their jobs.
Okay, hi, I'm Fada Shah. I am the coordinator of Pop-Up Happy Dance and also was one of the Freedom Angels at the Freedom Rally on March 20th. I'm here to support my local healthcare workers and help just show support for their sovereignty, their physical sovereignty, and just stand by them, because if they're not well, who's going to take care of us?
My name's Juan De Leon. I'm a member of the National Socialist firefighters here in Oregon. I'm out here today to help show support for everybody's civil rights that we feel are being violated by our governor's emergency mandate.
I'm Corey, and I've already got the vid, and my wife works in the medical field, and she already got the vid too.
You mean COVID?
COVID from
the
someone
vid.
who was vaccinated?
The vid. And I don't understand why that doesn't count.
So yeah, I'm just here to show my support and my enthusiasm, and also share some light, share some maybe lightheartedness and some humor and some love. I mean, I don't mean to get woo-woo, but I'm going to. We've got enough facts. We've got enough information out there. I'm not here to regurgitate, what I know or what I've read or come across. I'm here to help lighten the mood and just be supportive of everyone in the right to choose what to do with their sovereign bodies. That's why I'm here.
Very cool. So you're talking kind of in response to the mandate that medical workers get vaccinated, right?
Yes, I'm here specifically tonight, right now, in response to the potential mandate on the physical workers to have to take the poisonous poke, as I like to call it.
And also to show support for some of my southern brothers and sisters down here in Medford. 3-hour drive, but it's well worth it to exercise our rights to express our beliefs. We're not necessarily against shots. We just are against someone forcing us to have it if we choose to exercise our right to personal health management. That's pretty much why we're here.
My body, my choice, for one thing, and it means the right to choose what we ingest and what we don't ingest.
So is this particularly about COVID-19, or is this a kind of generalized thing?
Well, clearly it's about the mandates that are coming down from the governor's office, as well as the other authorities that are pushing these mandates. A lot of people's jobs are being threatened for choosing to abstain from being injected.
And you're talking about like the mask mandate and then some of the vaccine mandates in certain industries?
In particular, I think most of us are here in regards to the injections, which several of the injections are actually gene modification. They're not actually vaccines. Yeah.
So explain what this event that we're all at today is.
I have no idea. It's a medical freedom rally, pro-COVID truth, anti-poison vax, anti-slave mask, pro-family, pro-God, pro-country, pro-white.
Okay. So could you explain like what's going on and with vaccines, masks, COVID-19, and your perspective?
It's a depopulation agenda is what's happening. So the vaccine is being forced upon the people coercively, and the people that are taking it are dying and getting sick. The mass media is doing a poor job of covering it up, and there's a lot of independent researchers out there. One of the main ones at the cutting edge of the COVID truth movement, his name is Ryan Christian. He also has a alternative media platform called The Last American Vagabond. I highly recommend everyone go to The Last American Vagabond.
What is The Last American Vagabond?
It's an independent investigative journalist and media network. This man, Ryan Christian, runs it, and he puts out almost daily videos going into the truth about COVID, the vaccines, the mask. Also, he's done a lot of Palestine coverage, the oppression of the Palestinians by the Israelis, and he's just a good man that's into truth.
It's not a good situation. Whether you see a crisis and you end up seeing a company try to take advantage, like, if you see a landlord doubling or tripling their rent because of the fires in Talent, or you see gas stations hiking their prices during evacuation, those are people taking advantage of a crisis. And what the government's doing right now is taking advantage of a crisis. They know we need educators, school's starting. They know we need medical professionals, and they know these people need a job. And what they're doing to take advantage of the crisis is grab as much power as possible and give them no time to think or react or protest. I mean, like the 6 weeks that they were given and they were just going to lose their jobs is absurd. It's crazy. It's a power play that shouldn't be happening. Whether you're in support of the vaccine or you're vaccinated, whether you're cautious about the vaccine, that stuff aside, like the fact that the government is going to change the rules and then force you out of a job in a heartbeat is a serious problem. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to support everybody that's standing up for those people. And I don't want to see it go one industry at a time. I don't want to start with these two and then move on to another, industry in our community one at a time until there's no one left here that can protest because you can't hold a job and you can't disagree with the government. So the only people left in medical, the only people left in education, they're going to be the people that either agree with the government or are willing to go along with it because they have no power. And everyone else that has the ability to move or wants to have that freedom enough so that they'll uproot their family and leave their community that they've been in, sometimes for generations, those people will leave, and the government will have absolutely no pushback when they're making a poor choice. And this is a really poor leadership choice is what it comes down to.
So, go into a little bit about just sort of the specifics. Are you talking about the mandate that all the medical workers have to get vaccinated in particular?
So specifically that's what all these people are here for. Is they're looking at their neighbors, their colleagues. We have friends of ours that watch our daughter all the time, and they have to leave the state. If this goes through, her husband's going to lose their job. They just bought a house. They're pregnant right now. They just had a baby like last year. They're in the situation where they don't have the option to just go, well, let's pick a new career. They're going to have to leave, and that's happening to a lot of families. And standing up for my neighbors is important to me. This mandate's not personally going to put me out of work. But it's going to affect people that I care about, and anybody in my community that is going to lose their job needs to be represented if they can't.
So let's think about the vaccine and the fact that there's the Delta variant that even vaccinated people can still get COVID, right? The media likes to portray that it's just unvaccinated people who are spreading COVID. If that's the case, then by all means get vaccinated. The at-risk people should get vaccinated, and the people who are going to be fine and wipe it off, why would you get vaccinated? If you get vaccinated,
I told my parents to get vaccinated. Yeah. They're at risk. Get vaccinated by all means. If you are at risk and you are scared of coronavirus, get vaccinated. The vaccine is out there to help you if you are vaccinated. I am not discrediting that by any means.
But if the vaccine prevents COVID, then what difference does it make if your neighbor isn't vaccinated? If you get vaccinated, then you should be safe, right? So why should you tell someone to take a vaccine that's been rushed, that is really experimental? It's the quickest thing the FDA has ever approved. So people have the right to be wary about it. Also, if you're a healthy young person, why would you get vaccinated for something that has a 99.97 or whatever % survival rate? It's only at-risk people. Now my grandpa is at risk. He's had a bunch of medical issues. His doctor told him not to get the vaccine. That's a whole other thing that I don't have enough medical knowledge to say, but it's pretty clear that if the vaccine works, you should get it if you're afraid. But if you're not at risk, I don't care if I get COVID. I know tons of people, my best friends have got COVID, and they wipe it off like it's nothing. The flu's gone. You don't hear about anybody getting the flu. And I've got the flu or strep throat or things that sound worse than COVID. So why force a vaccine on people? You know why? Big money, big pharma. That's the only explanation that I can think of.
Sketchy stuff. Follow the money.
It doesn't make sense.
What else does the CDC and the FDA approve? Lab-grown meat?
So I guess the major thing I want to talk to you, Biome, about, because we've heard a lot about you, but have never really had a chance to actually catch up with you on camera while we're out doing any of these things. This is kind of the first time we've run into you out in the field. A lot of people have said various things about you.
We're not going to go into that at this meeting because it's not basically what the focus of this is at. Sure. So we want to get into my political philosophy, my political ideology, which is National Socialism, which isn't a big secret anymore. But we're going to schedule another interview so I can prepare myself for that. Right now, we're dealing with these beautiful people here that are all about COVID truth, about keeping our immune systems healthy and staying away from the poisons and the insults and the indignities of having these masks. And so the children, when the children wear the masks, they can't relate with their fellow children or with their parents or their teachers. And so it's basically a psychological and physical warfare against the children. And that's what it's really about, is the health of the children. So they're basically having permanent damage psychologically and physically from this masks, feeling compelled to wear the masks, and having a lot of their parents are brainwashed into going along with the program too. So there's basically cross pollination, and there's there's similarities in all these political movements because we're all kind of in our hearts, we want to have a healthy society, healthy families, healthy individuals. We don't want to be lied to, and we want to be able to live peaceful, honorable lives. And so that's what we're after.
So vaccines, in your view, what's wrong with vaccines?
It's an emergency use vaccine. It's a brand new technology. It shouldn't even be called a vaccine. Traditional vaccines use a denatured form of a virus or a bacteria to initiate the body's immune response. This is a genetic modification. It's gene therapy, experimental gene therapy with the mRNA. And they're not talking about the actual function and the actual process by which this new experimental technology is being foisted upon the world's population at this point. And it's proving to have severe consequences and horrible side effects. Not in everybody. I just heard today on The Last American Vagabond that 50% of the people that got the Pfizer vaccine between late December and mid-March actually got a placebo, because they're basically running a live experiment on us right now. We are the test subjects of this guinea pig experiment that's going on, because they've never run clinical trials long enough. There's a 3 to 5 year minimum clinical trials that need to be run before the FDA can approve a vaccine. And of course, this isn't a vaccine, this is experimental gene therapy. And all over alternative media, there's evidences of people having horrific side effects up to and including death. And everyone's waking up to it. And that's what all these people are here about, because everyone knows that these horrible side effects from the vaccine are here. And the long-term consequences of the vaccine are going to be coming over the next months and years, and that's going to be the horrific fallout of it, and that's going to be enough to wake people up. Hopefully it's not too late by then.
How do you personally feel about like vaccines and masks? You're advocating for the freedom to choose on that, but what is your choice?
Well, having done a lot of research on both subjects over the last 18 months, what I have found in the actual scientific literature is that there is no scientific literature that, from a perspective of randomized controlled trials, that supports masking as a method of stopping a virus. Now, we could get into that, that's a whole nother story, but for the purposes of this here, I'll stay within the box to make it easy on everybody else. The PCR test is not actually a test, it's a diagnostic. It's not a diagnostic tool. What it is a replication method that's being misused to fraudulently create or uncreate numbers. For instance, even the WHO and the CDC themselves have said any test run at over 35 cycle thresholds, or CTs, is a likely 95-97% false positive. So there has been no standardization at all during this whole quote-unquote pandemic in regards to the test, which once again is actually a replication tool, not actually designed. The inventor of the test, pardon me, I keep saying test, but what I mean is diagnostic tool. That just goes to show, by the way, I just want to point that out, that just goes to show how when things are being pushed, it's being called a test over, and even those of us that are aware that it's not actually a test, even we say it's a test sometimes, right? And so I can only imagine for the people out there that haven't taken the time to really look into these issues and research them and learn, and it's going to be really confusing. There's a lot of information out there that can be confusing. But once again, the WHO and the CDC themselves have said anything over 35 cycle thresholds is likely a 95 plus false positive. So what we're really dealing with as a whole, what we've been dealing with, is a case-demic. Not actually 80% to 90% of people were quote-unquote asymptomatic carriers, meaning they were healthy people, and the test was a false positive. And they were using these numbers to institute lockdowns and mask mandates, and now they're continuing to use those numbers to try and force injections onto people. And in many cases, as you can see, against our will. We live in America, we live in this country, we have a beautiful Constitution, we have the Bill of Rights, and it's very important that we stand up and preserve and protect these things. Not even for ourselves of course, but also for the future generations. It just as my grandfather, he went and fought in World War II to protect the freedoms of the free world against the Nazi tyranny. And by the way, in the Nuremberg trials of 1948, it was determined that without informed consent, that is totally illegal. So people need to look into the Nuremberg trials as well. And the Nazi machine was, in fact, doing many medical experiments on people against their will. That was one of the things that they did. And a lot of us here are seeing a lot of slippery slope type things that if we don't stand up now, then potentially, we might not be able to stand up. There are parts of the world, as everyone knows, where you can't come out and protest like this. So we're just really grateful that we can still have a voice, and thank you guys for, coming out and helping to document that.
Is it okay if I ask you, what the personal choice you made about the vaccine and masks and so forth is?
Yeah, sure. I'll be happy to tell you. I'm not vaccinated myself. My personal view, again, is if you want the shot, more power to you. It is your right under the Constitution, both state and national. All right? So, more power to you. But please don't infringe on my rights to say no. That's what this is about. This isn't about vaccinated, not vaccinated, mask, not mask, Republican, Democrat, north, south, east, west. This is about being Americans first and foremost, and infringing on our constitutional rights and our personal rights, either under God, if you believe, under your religious beliefs as well. So it's pretty much that simple, and we're just asking for some respect from the governor to honor our wishes as American citizens. I guess that's pretty much what it boils down to.
What was your reason for deciding not to take the vaccine?
I have religious beliefs myself, especially after reading about the vaccines and, learning that they're derivatives originally from, fetal abortions back 20 years ago, right? I get it. They're not real fetal tissue, but it came from an aborted child in the Netherlands. That's true. It's fact. And so I choose not to put myself ever in front of a child, mine, my neighbors, a stranger's, right? My creed as a fireman is to protect all. And that stretches back 30 years ago. That's my personal belief. If you believe different, again, great. More than happy to have those beliefs in this country. It's about your civil rights and the ability to exercise them.
So your wife is a medical worker, you said, yeah?
Yes, correct.
So could you, I guess, just go into a bit on your views about COVID and masks and vaccines?
Sure. I believe that COVID is a very real disease, and I have a lot of people close to me that got very messed up by the COVID, and it can really affect people. It can tear apart families. It's very contagious. I personally got pretty messed up by COVID. It was not fun, and I don't recommend trying to get it. Don't get it. And I believe that vaccinations cannot be mandated by anybody. It is your choice. If you want to get COVID, that's your choice. If you want to not get COVID, then that's your choice as well. You can avoid people or you can get vaccinated. I don't view vaccinated people any differently than myself. It should be an educated decision. Just as the great vaccination radio ad by our own Jackson County, it says, vaccinations are a choice. It can only be decided by yourself, and you should talk to it with your doctor. But whatever you decide, it's up to you. But when you choose to get vaccinated, contact Not cool. It's not your choice, and when you choose to get vaccinated, It's when your choice, you can do whatever you want. If you don't get vaccinated, you shouldn't be treated like a farm animal, a second-class citizen. It's your choice. So don't tell me and start your radio ads by saying it's your choice and then treating me like a second-class citizen, firing me from my job, and telling me to move to a different place if I have different views. How many people at Rogue Valley Regional Medical Center have the option to say, I don't want to get vaccinated, so I will quit my job? Nobody. The cost of housing and the price of living in this valley has skyrocketed. Most people are forced to have a 2-income household, and people can't afford to stand up to this. We don't have a choice. If you don't believe in the vaccination, whether it for religious, medical, fertility issues, it does not matter. If you want to be able to pay your mortgage and stay on top, you have to get vaccinated. And that's the choice that many of us today are standing against and saying enough's enough. And if you guys make us get vaccinated, we quit and we leave. And I pray and I hope that there's enough people that have the financial freedom to be able to live in a 1-income household for long enough to be able to say enough of this tyrannical government and stick it to the man.
What kinds of fallouts do you fear will happen?
Well, it's going to be a mass die-off is what we're speculating was going to happen. So the best way to keep your immune system healthy is to eat healthy, get exercise, and there's ways to cure viruses and sicknesses with good natural living. And so life on planet Earth isn't a cakewalk. People have been getting sick and dying on the planet for a long time. Some people get better, sometimes you don't. The death rates are pretty much exactly the same as they were for years past, so there hasn't been an increase in death. What they've done is they've attributed everything that's usually diagnosed as the flu, now it's COVID, so it's a sleight of hand manipulation of numbers. And so they actually don't even have the COVID-19 isolated. It's basically a computer model going off of a snippet of vaccine. So they're developing this vaccine which creates this spike protein. It's one spike protein. Viruses are constantly mutating, so even if the mRNA vaccine worked, it would only be for one specific spike protein, and as soon as it mutates, it causes this thing called antibody-dependent enhancement, which means your body's immune system works to draw in a mutated vaccine that doesn't have the exact same spike protein as what the mRNA is hijacking your body to produce, and it basically invites this new virus that the antibodies have a partial attachment to its spike protein, and invites it into the cell, and it causes absolute havoc for the body. And so that's what we're seeing with the Delta variant, is basically fallout from the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, so can we talk about the vaccine a little bit and just kind of like what your views on it are, and maybe COVID in general? Like, how do you feel about it, and how did you come to the conclusion that it's a poison, or what would you describe it as?
I describe it as a poisonous poke. I describe it as a device of control and as an opportunity for those that want control of human consciousness. I think that this is a device to separate us from free will and from our connection to divine source or God or creation or whatever. I think that the human ability to not only feel and emote, but also to tap into our divinity is a hot commodity, and it's also a threat to control.
So in what way does the vaccine prevent all of those things you just sort of said?
Well, the vaccine is just one more component of interfering with all of those things I just said, and it's not naturally sourced. It's made in a petri dish. There's questionable ingredients in it. I'm watching people have strokes and heart attacks and complete adverse reactions to this. I've come across the listed ingredients, and there's also other ingredients that have been talked about that are not in the pamphlet. And all of these are in my heart, I feel and I know that these are devices to separate us from our consciousness. And I also know how I have felt personally when I've spent concentrated amount of time in the presence of people who have been fully vaccinated. And it's kind of inexplicable, but I felt something and I didn't like the way I felt.
Based on how you feel around me, do you think I'm vaccinated or not?
No, I don't know right now. I feel so much energy here right now. There's like so much going on that
that's fair.
I'm trembling from that inside. So no, if you and I were sitting in a room, I'd probably be able to tell you after I left your presence and reflect on how I was reacting or feeling.
Yeah, that's totally fair. There's a lot of people here today.
Yeah,
I think this is like the biggest protest I've seen in the region the whole time I've lived here.
I am so excited to see this and to see the support, and I'm not here to talk about that it's right or wrong, because I don't believe in right or wrong. I'm just here to support people that have a choice. But I feel like my role, I don't know how the sound is going to come.
It usually is okay, but maybe repeat that last bit.
Okay, so I really feel that my role in all that's happening right now is to remind people that you're awesome, you're beautiful, you're divine, and that we're going to be okay. I think that humanity has already made our choice, and I'm just here to sprinkle a little bit of humor into into the scene, and I'll be doing, woo, it's distracting. I'll be doing more of the pop-up happy dances, which is my way of contributing to love and consciousness. So sharing, lightening the mood a little bit, reminding people that the best revenge to any oppression is to be happy anyways. You know, I'm here to encourage people to be happy beyond circumstance. Of course, we have our moments of fear and our moments of grief. But if our core paradigm is joy and happiness, no one can take that from us. No poisonous cocktail can take that from us. No, potential concentration camps or whatever. No mask. If we are truly joyful inside and happy beyond circumstance, then we've won. And if we can find, joy and laughter in this amazing planet that we're on, if you could just find something that brings you pleasure, look at that thing and point at it and say, more of that, please. And if you feel happiness or joy, like, breathe in that moment, deepen and expand that moment, and then I dare you to dance. Just dance. Let's just dance. Screw this and dance. Get out of your head. Let's dance anyway. Be happy anyway. Be happy anyway. That's my job. Keep it light.
So what about you personally? Like, are you a person who wears a mask or doesn't wear one? Did you get the vaccine or did you not?
Yeah, so, I think a lot of personal medical choices are private things. So
you don't have to answer that.
Yeah, I don't think individual choices come down to what we're here about today. When you go into a business, like if I'm asked to wear a mask by the staff, I will. I think, again, this was another overstretch of the government where they used the unelected power of OLCC or OSHA to tell employers that they now have to tell their employees to become law enforcement officers. And those employees didn't sign up for that. So I'm not gonna make that employee's day any harder. If that employee needs me to do that to keep their job, I'll respond to their asking me to do it. I would prefer not to. If they don't ask, I'm not gonna wear one in the business. But some businesses are getting more hard hit by, if you see a bar or a restaurant, OLCC can fine them, take their liquor license, put them out of business if their employees don't do this. And I don't want them to lose their job. So I will stand up for them even if I have to wear a mask for 20 minutes that I'm in their business. But that's if they ask me, yeah.
Yeah, that was mostly what I wanted to know, is just kind of in terms of if you are electing not to wear a mask by your own choice, kind of how you navigate the world, and that answered it perfectly. Right now, the world is full of vaccine mandates are sort of coming. Various businesses and industries are kind of mandating that people get these vaccines. And basically every business you go to right now, because of the indoor mask mandate, you have to wear a mask inside. So as a person who doesn't want to wear masks and doesn't want to get vaccines, etc., how do you kind of navigate the world? When you need to go grocery shopping, what do you do?
A mandate is not a law. There's no law requiring the businesses to force customers to wear masks. There's no law requiring customers to wear masks. I'm a free man. Freedom is enshrined in the laws of the land. The governor cannot make a law. That has to go through the legislature. That's the way America works. So there's no law. Businesses have to operate. They're private businesses, but if you're open to the public, you have to follow public accommodation laws. Public accommodation laws say that you have to give service to the customers as long as they're not breaking any laws. And since the mask mandate is not a law, they have to serve you. And so businesses are actually violating the law by not serving you for having a mask on. I was able to survive by going to certain businesses whose ownership knew damn well that they were going to side with freedom instead of fear and coercion from this tyrannical government. And so I was able to get my food no problem from certain shops. And even if every business was closed down to me, even if every business was violating my rights to get food, I still would not wear a mask because my dignity and self-respect are worth more than filling my belly full of food. I will eat acorns and grass and turkeys and squirrels before I ever wear a mask. I will never wear a mask. I will never take a forced jab, and I will never take a chip. And so that's where I stand with that all. And I encourage everyone, I'm so happy you guys don't have your masks on because you guys were wearing your masks when you were doing those interviews earlier in Ashland. And so it's good to see you guys are actually coming around and doing what's right and regaining your freedom.
So my last line of questioning is kind of two-parted. The first one is about masks. How do each of you kind of handle the masks? Do you choose to wear one or do you not?
I ask, so in my workplace setting, I'm in a kind of office cubicle type thing where when I'm in my office, I don't wear a mask because I don't think I'm hurting anybody. And when I go to other people's offices or am around anybody else, I ask them, are you comfortable with me wearing a mask? Would you like me to wear a mask? Are you not comfortable with me being unmasked? What are your thoughts? And I respect other people's opinions, and if they are most comfortable with me wearing a mask, I don't have a problem. I'm not out here to get other people sick. I'm first-handedly saying I've had COVID, and it's not fun. I'm not trying to get other people sick. I don't think I'm a risk to others because I've had COVID and I've beat it, and I've beat the CDC recommendations of being back to work, and I don't think that it's fair that they're still pushing the vaccination on me. I am okay with wearing a mask if it makes others feel safe. That's not what this is about.
Well, mostly I choose not to, and I don't want to, because actually I have a medical exemption from my doctor because I have conditions that make it really challenging for me to wear one, right? Unfortunately, the medical exemption, which is part of the Americans with Disabilities Act, is not being honored by a lot of businesses. So therefore, when I go into the business, if they insist that I wear one or they won't serve me, then if I need to do that, if say it's for food, if I'm going for food, then obviously I need to get some food, so I will wear something. I'll wear a bandana or a scarf or something. However, there are businesses that I will no longer go to because it's not something that I need to go to, and so unfortunately for them, they're losing business that way. I think a lot of businesses have unfortunately been hurting themselves by this, and now I understand that there's pressure from government agencies on them and that there's fines being levied or threatened at least, and that's why they need to do it. At the same time, if you're a person and I express myself to you and you explain to me in a way that's kind and compassionate, I can wear it for you, if that's important to you. I'm not opposed to that. I will say that as far as creating health or protecting health, they don't do that at all. It's just no. So, but there's so much information out there that it's hard for people to, once again, discern what's actually real and what's not real. So a lot of people think that wearing a mask protects them, but if you follow the flip-flop of the governmental agencies, they flip-flop back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And in fact, I'll just say this, hey, what year is it? It's 2021. If the mask freaking worked, why do we have to wear them again? Why is it still a thing? They don't work.
When it comes to going to a business where they're forcing a mask, it's pretty simple. I don't carry a mask around with me anymore, and if they want to give me a mask, then I'll go in, I'll put a mask on, and I'll comply with their rules. I'm in their property, so I'll go along with it. If they don't have a mask for me, though, I'm walking out and going to the next spot. I think we should think about the logic behind wearing a mask walking into a restaurant.
It's a little silly.
And then sitting down and taking the mask off and breathing in the same air. It's an aerosol spread disease. We all know that. You might also think about whether the fact that the virus can make its way through the mask, because that's a big thing. And then if the mask really does work, why do you care if the guy next to you is wearing a mask because you have one?
Let alone the vaccine, if it works.
That's another point. Back to the vaccine. I have very close friends who work in here. On one floor, I'm not going to disclose any names, but on one floor in the OR, there's 19 members of the staff that have COVID-19. They're out right now. All 19 of those members are fully vaccinated with COVID-19. Yet they're sick and out. Let's think about that. Is there some misinformation going around right now? Is there some people making some big money and some agendas being pushed on the people that we're not maybe hearing the whole truth? Maybe. If there's a whole group of nurses out with COVID that are vaccinated, no wonder there's a bunch of nurses here protesting this. Think about that. It's something to care about.
I'm going to speak for everybody that was here tonight, and that might be a little far reach, but none of us that are against the vaccine mandate are COVID deniers or necessarily anti-maskers or anti-anything. We are pro-freedom. And that's it. I mean, you can say follow the science, you can say follow whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I mean, how much sense does it make to force people that have already had COVID to get the vaccine or they lose their jobs? Pretty silly if you ask me.
So on masks, are you a person who likes to wear a mask or chooses to wear a mask, or are you not?
Well, so I still have a boss, right? And my boss still has to follow directives, and I have to follow the directives at work, otherwise I'm subject to discipline. So we wear masks, we follow the mandates at work. I choose not to wear a mask when I don't have to. If a business requires me to wear a mask, I'm honoring their business wishes. You know, if I'm at Joe's tackle shop and Joe says, you can't come in here unless you're wearing a mask, I will honor that because it's Joe's tackle shop. If he says I don't have to, then I won't. But that's my choice. And if you want to go wear a mask wherever you want to, I'm not going to look down on you. Again, it's your choice. So
I am a business owner, and I will never wear a mask in my business place. I don't care if a customer wants to wear a mask, they can, but I'm not going to put one on because I want to exercise the freedom of choice, and I want people who don't want to wear a mask to feel comfortable not wearing a mask and not to feel like a bad person because they don't want to put a piece of cloth over their face. Now, if we want to talk about the science of whether masks work or not, that's a whole other thing that there's no science on it. There's no studies that say masks work. And if we allow this to keep happening, if we allow people to keep telling us to put masks on our face, it's never going to end. It's never going to end. Look at it last year. It was 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And what happens? It just progresses and progresses. And it's never going to end. If you give people power, power-hungry people are going to take advantage of it. And we have to stand up to that. Now, if you want to wear a mask, I feel free. I'm not judging you, but do not tell me I have to when I'm just trying to be healthy and breathe clean air and live a normal life. Do we remember what being normal was like? Going to concerts, going to parties with your friends? People got sick. I haven't heard of anybody getting the flu since COVID happened.
We've been here 2 hours.
6 rounds, flush it down.
I'm saying we need to interview someone, like a nurse, if we can find one.
Ideally. Oh, here's a nurse. Hey, excuse me.
Yes.
Are you a nurse by chance?
I decline to answer. Thank you.
No? Okay.
This being an event organized around medical workers, at least in part, we obviously wanted to talk to some. However, despite seeing a large number of people at this event wearing medical scrubs, all our attempts to talk to medical workers were met with refusal.
Hey, excuse me. We're looking for some medical workers to talk to kind of talk about what's going on here today. No? Hey, excuse me. My name is Keegan. I do a show called Us Is Where. No, thank you. Okay. Hey, guys. Is there any chance that you guys are willing to talk to us on camera about just sort of what brings you out here today and all that? No? Totally.
All about freedom.
Understand.
No.
Right. Cool.
Thank you, though.
Can anyone talk?
No, thank you.
It won't be any nurses?
No, thank
Okay.
you.
Is there like a general agreement among all of you nurses to not talk to media?
I just don't have anything to say.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Yes. We're an independent media group.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a great way.
Thanks, you too.
She wanted. Did you record that? Yes. So my last major sort of serious question is about like the medical workers that are out here. And so far, all of our attempts to talk to them have failed. They have sort of given us the same boilerplate of just, we don't have anything to say to the media, no thank you.
No.
Do you have any insight as to why that might be?
I'm not a medical worker. I can only guess. I mean, obviously there's huge distrust in the media, you know, so most people don't know who you are yet, you know. I don't think people have really seen enough of your productions. So I can only imagine that there's fear. And that's another thing that I want to talk about. Like, love is greater than fear. So when I first saw you guys at the March 20th rally, I had I mean, I'm carrying a sign, love is greater than fear, but yet I was afraid. I'm like, well, what are these guys going to do? What kind of spin? What kind of target now am I going to be now that I'm on camera? And I've worked through that. So I'm more present, and love is greater than fear. And I can't imagine. I mean, these people, their jobs are on the line potentially. So I imagine they don't want to be on camera because they have so much at stake at the moment. So I just send little pink heart bubbles to all of them. May we rise above the fear.
So a lot of the nurses that we've been trying to talk to have not wanted to talk to us. They've kind of just been like, we don't have anything to say, we're not talking to you, won't even really tell me why. Do you know anything about like why that's the case?
I can't speak for anybody else here. I can only speak for myself.
Have you heard anything?
As far as
why they might not want to talk to us, like in the media?
I don't know. Perhaps one of the reasons, possibly, this is just possibly, is that there has been a lot of slandering and mudslinging as well as hit pieces done on a lot of outspoken people that are standing up for their freedoms and standing up for their truths. And so perhaps they're concerned that the media will edit and cut it and make it, like even you guys might do that for me. I don't know. You might make it sound like I'm saying something I'm not,
We've been trying to talk to a lot of the medical workers, but they all seem to kind of have a collective agreement to refuse to speak to media. Do you have any insight about why that might be?
I don't know. I know that the ONA is kind of taking a great stance, in my view, as they're welcoming vaccinations or shots and masks, but they're also encouraging, and they've taken the stance with the governor in order to keep it again about your civil rights as an American citizen, and that is to choose to get it or not. Again, no one here is saying that we're against it if that's what you choose. It's just let it be our choice. And especially I've done this job for almost 30 years. Faithfully, we were doing it 18 months, wearing the same mask for 2 shifts because there was a shortage. And we had to put it in a magic brown paper sack and shake it 6 times, and all of a sudden it was good. All right? And I get the shortages and whatnot, but I don't know what the reasons are. All I know is we need to be able to exercise our rights and support each other as American citizens, whether you agree on the shot or not, or a mask or not, and have mutual respect.
Was there anything that I didn't ask about that you wanted to talk about on camera today?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you guys, so long as the intent is to listen to what people are saying and try to figure out why so many people are upset, rather than just project your opinion on these people are whatever, they're ignorant or they're angry or they're anti-government or they're anti-vaccine or whatever. I think if you just immediately jump to that, you're skipping over trying to understand what people are going through. And this many people don't show up just because they're lazy or in fear. They show up because they're in support of something and they're supporting their neighbors right now. So
it was Jay?
Jay,
thank you so much for talking to me today.
Yeah, thank you.
I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I think you guys are amazing. I really champion independent media, and so I'm really just supportive of what you guys are doing, and thanks for talking with me today. And we look forward to getting to the bottom of the National Socialism, Antifa, Jewish question, domination of the media, the finances, the academia, the political sphere. We'll tackle that another time so we can both prepare and get into a more controlled environment.
All right, Biome, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Yeah, Keegan.
I have divine immunity because I have strength in my being. I live a natural life. I eat well. I take care of myself. I maintain myself. I cleanse myself. I purify myself. And through these ways, through the beauty of this wondrous planet that we live on, we don't need concoctions created in laboratories that are based on computer algorithms, by the way, to inject in this stuff. 280 ingredients sourced from 19 different countries. And yet, they won't tell us what all the ingredients are. I will never take that. And all these people here, they will never take it either. Over 1,800 people have showed up today.
1,800?
Yes.
I believe it. It's a lot.
Yeah.
This is the biggest protest I think we've been to while we've been a crew.
So thank you. I mean, this is all off the cuff, right? I mean,
What was your name one more time?
Olivai.
Olivai.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking to me
Yeah, I
today.
appreciate it. What's your name?
I'm Keegan. Well, is there anything that I didn't ask about that you want to mention, or any like last tidbits you want to add?
Be happy anyways. Dance anyways. Love is greater than fear. And be truly happy within yourself. I mean, I know it sounds so woo-woo, but practice it. Practice presence. Practice breathing deeply into your belly, in through your nose, out through your mouth. And let the belly get big when you breathe, and let it fall when you breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out, and connect all of that. So when the fear rises, just do that. And then check in and see what a difference it makes. So I'm just here to remind people about that stuff.
Well, is there anything that I didn't ask you, or a little tidbit that you want to add to conclude this?
Well, you know, there is some sentiment out there that's a little bit offensive, right? So for the last 16, 18 months, until 5 days ago, we were known as heroes. We were known as angels.
Firefighters and medical workers?
Medical workers, CNAs, you name it. Volunteer, career, it doesn't matter. And then 5 days ago when the mandate came down, now we're being demonized. It's not fair. We report faithfully to do our jobs every day of the week. 24-hour shifts, 48-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, without question. And short-staffed, and also ill-equipped, especially at the beginning. But we did our jobs. And then all of a sudden, we're the bad guys because we're wanting to execute our constitutional rights of freedom of choice. It's unfair, and that is offensive. I'll be honest. To me, I don't know how the other guys feel about it, but I'm offended by that. So.
All right. Well, what was your name one more time?
Juan De Leon.
Juan De Leon. Okay, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
I'm happy to do it, and I'll talk to you anytime you want.
If you don't want to do something, that's your body, it doesn't matter. Remember, my body, my choice? Where did that go? Kind of flew out the window as soon as this whole COVID vaccine started. And I guess I'll end with that.
Well, folks, just like that, all the people who had gathered here outside the Asante hospital seem to have gone home. That was a really interesting couple of hours of conversation. Now, despite this being a rally for medical workers, or at least that's what it said it was all about, we really couldn't talk to any medical workers. All the medical workers we tried to talk to politely refused to talk to us on camera, which I suppose is somewhat understandable. They are, of course, employed in these hospitals and with other medical organizations, and it's a thing that when you're on a show like this, people are going to see you. And so I think what may have been going on is a little bit of fear around losing jobs. Nevertheless, this was an absolutely enthralling video to record. With that, I've been Keegan Van Hook, and this is Us As We Are.
As always, thank you to our major Patreon supporters: Adam, Alex Zendejas, Amy E. Van Hook, Daniel Van Hook, Elizabeth Austin, Robin Josie, T. Langdon, Ben Harder, Lily Bankson, and The Bone Zone.
To contribute, visit patreon.com/SailorBoyMedia. Additionally, if you'd like to just leave us a one-time donation, you can do that at paypal.me/SailorBoyMedia. To get any other information or to contact us, visit SailorBoyMedia.com.